What's up? Happy Monday, y'all. All right, today, the title of the discussion today is Manifesting the Memory of God When the Dreamer Remembers. This is actually inspired off of a dream I had. A dream I had last night that really gave me some new perspective. But we are going to talk about God or Source coming down here and manifesting within you to remember, but also how mysterious that whole situation is. All right, so we're gonna talk about a lot today. We're gonna continue down the series of waking you up into your divinity. We're gonna continue to wake up together. What's up? What's up? All right, so let me hit the live button on Instagram. I've been a little out of it today, man, but this is gonna be a good one. I'm excited for this one. All right. The holy amnesia. There is a silence behind your eyes, a forgetting that settles like dust over the soul, a divine slumber that makes eternity feel like emptiness. This is not death, it is a sacred coma, a voluntary exile, a soul who dared to dream separation just to remember oneness again. Psalm 82:6, I said, you are God, you are all sons of the Most High. Yet how quickly gods forget they are divine, when they are clothed in limitation, baptized in time, and called by names that were never truly theirs. Despair is not the end of the road. It is the knock of remembrance. It is the soul saying there is more to you than this. Okay? Despair is not the end of the road. It is a knock of remembrance. We can come down this journey, especially on this spiritual path, this reality creation path, and you hit these quote unquote roadblocks where things might feel difficult for you, right? All of a sudden you're trying to remember, you're trying to control your thoughts, you're trying to focus on the thing that you want. And there could be times where you look out and it's like, damn, nothing has changed. How do you deal with these situations? Okay? So I'm going to offer a different perspective on what this actually means. All right, I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying in a different way. Within you right now, you have every version of yourself. Okay? What actually makes you whole? My bad, is this better? What actually makes you whole is that you have everything within you right now, every version of you. You have the version of you that is a millionaire, a version of you that has nothing, the version of you that is just married for the first time, the version of you that's married for the third time. Every single possible outcome that you can imagine for your life exists within you, right? And so you truly are the Father's house. You truly are the temple of God. When we say that creation is finished, what we mean by this is that there is nothing that you could go out there and possibly create. Every version of you exists. Every reality that you would ever dream of exists within you right now. So this is what makes you whole. This is why you can never be anything less than whole, because everything is already within you. Every possible outcome that you want outside of you already dwells within you, attached to a certain perspective. All right? Now, the difficult part about this from a human perspective is that because we are this whole being and we can only experience reality from a small portion at a time, you can only experience reality as 0.001% of yourself, as one perspective at a time, right? We understand because physicists have told us that matter or an atom is only 0.001% matter. The rest of it is energy and empty space. So you have this larger part of you, right? That is all that you are, all right? Sitting there and watching you while you experience life through this single perspective. Now, because this is only one perspective of who you are, it's always going to bring about a certain sense of limitation, a certain sense of lack, because you can only experience one perspective at a time. But just to kind of bring this point home, the only reason that you could feel any lack is because of the wholeness of who you truly are. It would not be possible for you to experience a feeling of lack, a feeling of limitation, a feeling of despair, if you were not all that there is, if that was not your natural nature. So when I say this, when I say despair is not the end of the road, it is the knock of remembrance. This is what it means.
It is your soul saying there is more to you than this. You know there's more to you than this. This is why you desire more things. Right? You get into this situation where you might feel like you're that seed planted in soil. You're covered in darkness. You're going through a difficult situation. And a part of you knows without a shadow of a doubt there is more to life than this. This speaks to your infinite nature. All right, so let's expand on that point. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are the self, eternal, radiant, and still. You came here not to be destroyed by illusion. Right? Peace. What's up to y'all, man? What's up? You came here not to be destroyed by illusion, but to awaken within it. Like a lucid dreamer who realizes the monsters are made of his own mind and thus no longer fears them. This is what you came down here to do. You came down here to experience the world, to look at the world, understanding that you were going to have some speed bumps. But those speed bumps were just going to be divine remembrance. Of course you desire more, because this is part of your infinite nature. We've talked about how desires lead to more desires. Right? This is how you want different things because you are an infinite being. You are a whole being. You are a being that within you, you contain every single possible perspective you could ever imagine. It all lives within you. Every reality that you could imagine lives within you, attached to a perspective. You just can only experience life 0.01% of the time. This isn't a call to be sad. This is to welcome your feelings as just giving you clarity on what perspective you want to embody next. The purpose of you feeling sad or wanting more was never to push you down a path of depression or hopelessness. It was simply to allow you the opportunity, to give you the opportunity, the chance to embrace another perspective. And therefore, thus, once you inhabit a new perspective, you inhabit a new dimension. Every perspective is a different dimension. Right? A dimension is a mansion. In my Father's house are many mansions. Right? Within you are every single dimension, every single perspective, every single timeline that you could imagine. It's all within you. So therefore, the point of your consciousness, okay, because you are conscious, so you have to be conscious of something. Your point of your consciousness is not to be conscious of all the things that are outside of you. It is to be conscious of the source of those things, which is you. All right? If we are just walking around and we're looking out there, we're trying to suppress things and make things change out there, it's going to be very difficult. This is the Neo visiting the Oracle, talking to the kid, and the kid said, don't try to bend the spoon, it's impossible. Don't try to change the situation, change your bank account, change that person, it's impossible. Instead, only try to remember the truth, that there is no spoon. All those things outside of you, they don't exist. They're from within you. They're attached to a different perspective of you. For instance, you're in a situation, or you've had situations in your life, right, where people cheat on you. They're attached to a perspective of you. Is that what you expect? What is your expectation for the opposite gender? All right. Attached to the perspective that anybody would be lucky to have you. Stepping into this perspective of you are a divine God, you are a divine goddess. This new perspective puts you in a new dimension, which gives you completely different outcomes in your life. It's all up to you. So we don't go out there trying to change things. What's out there is done. It's done. It's already been projected from within you. It is done. Your job is to go within yourself to select a different perspective and change to a different dimension. New perspective, new dimension. All right? You don't want that same person. You don't want to change them. They're done. Leave them where they are. You want a completely different version of them to appear in your life. Therefore, you have to embody a different version of you. Now, the question always is after this, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? What do I have to do to embody this new version? And as I will say, what do you have to do is the wrong question. What do you have to remember about yourself is the correct question. The world has tricked you and programmed you to thinking that you're striving and you're hustling, right? And you're reaching for something this is the right way to do it. This is what the world has taught you to do. Right? This is what your parents said. They said, look, if you act like this, you'll be good. The school said, if you do this, you'll be good. And you'll get a sticker. And your job says, if you do this, you'll get a raise. And the church says, if you do this, then you'll be saved. And so you tie your sense of self-worth to what you're doing out there, to the external world, to striving or working or reaching for something. Always out there. This is the separation that we come into in this world, right? That heaven's out there and you're down here. And maybe if you die, you'll get a reward one day, right? This is the illusion of separation. So of course, when we get into this space and somebody says, well, if you want it, you have to feel worthy of it already. Feel worthy? What does that mean? What does it mean to feel worthy? If you could bring up a feeling right now, could you maintain that feeling for the rest of your life? Could you? Any feeling, happy, sad, good, bad, could you maintain a single feeling? So we get into this space and we try to attach our feelings and striving, right, to these things. Okay, I have to embody wealth. I have to embody being worthy. No, you have to remember who you are. You are source. Source is within you. And if source is within you, how could you be anything less than worthy? If source is infinite abundance, infinite intelligence, how could you be anything less than abundant? If source is infinite love, how could you be anything less than love? How could you be? Please. Right? So just the fact that you're programmed into thinking that you have to work and earn these things, if I don't understand that source is within me, and I think I have to work to be worthy, just by me thinking I have to work to be worthy, what does that declare? It declares that I do not believe that I'm worthy. If I believe I have to work to be loved, I'm declaring I do not believe that I'm loved. I'm casting those divine aspects that are your birthright out of me. Right? And so when we say you don't chase, you attract, right? That goes further than just running around behind people out there. If you believe that one day, if you do all this work, one day it'll click and you'll have this supreme feeling of worthiness that flows over you and you'll never lose it again. Guys, is that truly realistic? Is maintaining a single feeling for the rest of your life realistic? It's not. The weather changes. People get sad for no reason. Right? Somebody gives you bad news. Your feelings are going to be down for no reason. Okay? So this is about a knowing. It's about a conscious awareness, a knowing of who you are. Right? This is what consciousness is. Consciousness is lifting up the veil over reality. It's lifting up that veil, looking outside of yourself, well, looking within yourself, really, and declaring who you are. Source is within me. The kingdom is within me. All right? And anytime we lower our consciousness, we put that veil back over us. And we're just walking through life thinking that there's a feeling of worthiness. There's a feeling of love. Sources within you could never be anything less. All right? So it's not about what do you have to be. That's the wrong question. It's what do you have to remember about yourself. Okay? All right, so the fall into form. All right, so the book of Enoch speaks of angels descending, but the greatest descent was not from heaven to earth, but from remembrance to forgetfulness. And we've talked about the fall several times, right? We've talked about the story of Eden. We've talked about it metaphorically, metaphysically, as a state of consciousness, right? When you are in that supreme consciousness in the Garden of Eden, where you are co-creating with the divine, when you are relying on the divine to supply you with everything. And then the metaphorical leaving the garden, going into the lack and limitation of the world and walking around here and just, trying to do it by yourself. The story of the prodigal son. This is the story of Job. We went over these stories, right? So it is the fall from remembrance to forgetfulness. The fall was not only about rebellion. It was the soul choosing density so that even in darkness, it could become the light again. All right, so one of the texts from the Hymn of the Pearl, they drank from the waters of forgetfulness and forgot their divine origin. All right, so this amnesia birthed the illusion of separation. The illusion of separation, God over there, heaven up there, you down here, waiting, wandering, and wanting. But the truth was always nearer than your breath.
right? The kingdom of God does not come with observation, for indeed the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:20-21. Heaven was never a destination. It is a dimension of awareness, a frequency tuned not by striving, but by stillness. It's a universal law, man. It's a universal law. We don't get into it. All right, so the despair that awakens, all right, depression, hopelessness, the ache of limitation. These are not signs that you're broken. They're the labor pains of awakening. Right? They're just a reminder of the infiniteness of you, of how whole that you are. You have to experience those feelings of lack and despair sometimes because they're a remembrance that you are much more. There are other perspectives. In my Father's house are many mansions. There are different perspectives in the house, in the temple of the divine, that is you, that is attached to much different realities. Okay? What you call rock bottom is often where the dream cracks, where the illusion collapses and the soul gasps, not from pain, but from remembrance. So let's talk about rock bottom for a little bit. One of the things that people talk about, right, is how we'll hear success stories and people say, well, you know, I had to hit rock bottom before I could bounce back from it. And what is it that happens in this rock bottom? It isn't just the ultimate striving that happens, right? They make the perfect plan when they hit rock bottom. But oftentimes the other side of the story is the surrender that comes from not knowing what the hell to do next. When you hit a low point in your life where all of your plans go to shit, you don't know what to do next. And the only thing that you can do, I say, I'm gonna do the next best thing right now. And I have to have faith. All of a sudden, you become a container for the divine when you hit that rock bottom. Right? But we can look at this from a different angle as well. There's other people who talk about the discipline of hard work. All right? If you do this work over time for X amount of time, then all of a sudden you will be successful. And what is this truly alluding to? You have to understand that everything that we do in our life is an affirmation. It's not just when you stand in front of your window or in front of your mirror. It's not just right before you fall asleep. Right? It's not when you are just consciously affirming, but everything that you do is an affirmation. So if I'm constantly working towards success, I'm constantly putting myself in a situation that makes me feel like I'm going to be successful or I am successful. One day it clicks and I feel worthy, and then all of a sudden, boom, the blessings come. What I'm saying is we got to reverse that process. You don't have to go do a whole bunch to feel worthy. You simply have to know that source is within you, and therefore you can be worthy. You are worthy. You could never be anything less than worthy. Right? Why go through a whole bunch of bullshit before you figure out, oh shit, okay, I have to surrender. Instead of just surrendering right now, it's always a choice. You have a choice in every moment. Every moment you're confronting yourself, because everything outside of you is just a projection from within you. So every moment you're confronting yourself, and you're giving an opportunity to either pick the same things or pick something different. Right? To react the same way to the same things, continue to try to react to the same way to the external world, trying to force it to change, knowing that that has not worked, or surrender to something greater than yourself. All right? So you are not your wounds. You are the one who survives them. You are not your thoughts. You are the silent witness beneath them. And you are not your story. You are the author remembering that you hold the pen. All right, so the self is like the sky, untouched by the clouds that pass through it. All right, you are the sky. Okay? You are the sky, and your feelings are like the weather. Your thoughts, hell, are like the weather. In 1 minute, there could be a hurricane. Right? It could be a flood. It could be a tornado. But that sky remains there. It remains absolutely still and absolute constant. Okay? Now, does this mean that you won't have doubt sometimes? Does this mean you won't feel your nervous system going crazy? No, that's not what it means at all. But you are the consciousness that tells the story. You're the consciousness that looks out from behind your eyes, that looks out into the world and says things are working out or things are not. And whether it is or isn't is based on you. It is your declaration. It's your decree. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. All right? If you make the declaration and everything is working out, it is.
If you say this shit looks fucked up, it is. It is you. You are the operant power. Source creation, reality is done. It's created. It is here. Every possibility, every perspective that you could inhabit is within you already. Every reality is already within you. It's already done. You are the power that selects the perspective, that animates that reality so you can actually walk through it in this third dimensional reality. It's all you. All right? So this is not a call to suppress your humanity. Run away from your feelings. Run away from your thoughts. This is to embrace them. It's to understand that these dark spots that you are going through are not meant to tear you down and test you. They're meant to give you clarity on what you really want. What do you really want? This is the purpose, unless you believe that source is unintentional. It just does things on coincidence. But you don't believe that, right? Everything is meaningful, it's purposeful, it's meant to give you more clarity on what you want. It's just meant to push you down this divine path, right? So that despair that you feel, that sadness, it's just an opportunity to choose differently. To choose differently, right? Life truly is a miracle. Your parents laid down together, you came out. Right? You've grown up, and now you speaking sentences, right? You got jobs. We can jump into a plane and fly across the country. Right? We can get in cars and drive 70, 80, 100 miles an hour. Life is a miracle. The amount of animals that are just out there, the bugs that are out there, the trees, that you can just walk out there and pick a fruit off of a tree and eat it. Life is a miracle. You sit within a miracle, but still ask for signs from source. Your life is a sign. Your life is the miracle. Okay? Everything is unfolding from within you. You are the mystery of God. We are all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure out source. It doesn't matter what religion or what spiritual road you go down. We're all trying to understand source more from different perspectives, from infinite perspectives. Every single one of our perspectives is slightly different, right? We're all seeing ourselves. We are seeing the kingdom which is within us, being projected from within us, animating everyone around us, and we are walking through this, getting to know ourselves. Getting to know ourselves. So the negative things, right? I'm glad you asked that. We're going to get into that right now. I'm glad you asked that. So the things that you don't like, they are being projected from within you so that you can walk down a path of knowing yourself as the creator of these things. How do you know yourself to be the creator of things you don't want? Because you react to them the same way. You tell the same story about them. How you'll know that your reality is changing is when you start walking through life and you start telling different stories about the same situations. And then you see as you tell different stories, those things fade away. All right, so let's get into this miracle aspect again. The easiest way for you to choose different in your life is to see everything as a miracle. If the kingdom is everything, and everything is within you, all right, then everything that you experience in this life is a projection of you, which is a miracle in itself, the good things and the bad things. Right? When is the last time that you walked through life and you simply enjoyed the miracles around you? When's the last time you just relaxed and listened to a loved one's voice on the phone, your mother, right? Your brother, your sister? When's the last time you simply took a walk and enjoyed the miracle of life? You looked at the colors outside, right? When is the last time you just sat in the silence and were in awe of yourself, that you are this conscious thinking being walking around here on this planet thinking about bills? That in itself is a miracle, that you have the consciousness to get stuck in this game and be thinking about bills, right? To be able to pay them. It's all a miracle, right? So what you'll see is when you start looking at everything as a miracle, what you could consider to be positive or negative, well, then you don't react to certain things the same way. Think about it like this. Everything has a frequency. So even the things that you don't want, if you focus on them too long, you've told a story of not wanting them. They have just been so front and center of your consciousness, they had to be made manifest in your life. So you walk through life, right? And you encounter those things and you curse them. You latch onto them, you try to suppress them, you try to run from them, you try to ignore them. But ignoring things makes them larger, right? But they have a frequency of something you don't want. So how do you react? You react in a way that shows you don't want it. You run from it. You suppress it. You start cussing at it. You start telling the story of how it's not working out, right? So you reacting to this thing you don't want in a way like you don't want it, y'all are magnets now. Y'all are magnetized to one another. So guess what? You have to get more. As within, so without. Kingdom is within. As within, so without. As above, so below. But at the moment that you start looking at everything as divine, as a miracle, oh shit, this came from me. And because it is a projection of me, now I can choose. I can choose what I want to experience next. All right? If it has a vibration of something I don't want or a frequency of something I don't want, and I look at it just as a miracle, I don't react the same way. Now it has to fade away and it has to be replaced with something that's more in alignment with me. This is the game that you play. All right? It's the moment that you stop judging that person out there that broke your heart as bad. You stop judging that situation as bad, right? But this is what we do as humans. A lot of it is that ego. We're programmed to judge things, good, bad, right, wrong, sit around and talk shit about people that make mistakes. This is what we do. This is what we've been programmed to do. Our sense of morality is based on judging people, right? We created all this. And so the moment that you're walking through life and you are judging things, good, bad, it's going to be very difficult to get out of that situation. Instead, everything is perfect. It's all of you. This perspective of you right now created everything that you're experiencing right now. And this perspective of you is one perspective in the wholeness of who you are, right? Every perspective is within you right now. The perspective that's extremely opposite, a little different, every perspective, everything that you could think of right now exists within you. This perspective is just one aspect of the wholeness of you. And thus for, because it is the wholeness of you, it is made in the image of the Creator, it is perfect. It is perfect. You are the one who tells the story that it isn't because you don't have that one thing that you want. That person out there that is just reflecting you, reflecting your thoughts, beliefs, expectations, the lack of love you have for yourself, the love that you have for yourself, that person is absolutely perfect. This situation of lack is absolutely perfect. It's the perfect reflection of your perfection, just seen from one perspective of you. Do you feel that? Do you hear that? You are absolutely perfect, every perspective. And everything reflected from that perspective is an absolute perfect reflection. It's all perfect. Right? And so the moment you stop striving to judge things as right and wrong, you just look at things as perfect. And you simply give yourself the ability to choose. No. I no longer tell that same story. If I don't see what I want, it means I'm still just in the middle. But oftentimes when we're still in the middle of the process, we react like it's the end. You want this prosperity. The situation in front of you does not look like prosperity to you. And so now you judge, shit's just not working out. Life is a mirror. One of the aspects of a mirror is a mirror always looks backwards. It looks crazy. You look in the mirror and you hold up your right hand, it looks like you're holding up your left hand. It always looks, sometimes it just looks off. To get from where you are today to where you want to be, going through this third dimensional linear timeline, things have to change. Things have to change. And so you standing in the middle, judging things, makes no sense. You only see 0.001% of reality. Scripture said, thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. All right? So if I'm standing here and I don't see what I want, it just means it's still unfolding. And I just remind myself I already have it. Because you do. Because fourth dimensionally, you have everything that you can imagine right now. And you put your consciousness on that and you remind yourself that, it's still unfolding. The situation doesn't look perfect, but the God within me is perfect. So the situation must be perfect. This is the law. This is universal law. The situation must be perfect because the God within me is perfect. Point blank, period. This is how you choose. It's a very simple process. The only thing it requires is us controlling the story that we're telling, keeping that consciousness up so you can lift the veil of reality. But anytime we lower our consciousness and we start reacting, right? We start reacting to things unconsciously. Well, shit. Now you're leaving your life up to somebody else. Somebody else's choices, right? Either you are creating your reality or someone else is creating it for you. What do you mean by that? Well, let's think about it. If I'm not actively, consciously choosing my reality, my beliefs, my expectations, the knowing of who I am, that I am source and there is no other. If I do not tell that story, well then, whose story do I listen to? We have to understand most of our thoughts are not ours. Most of what you believe, your parents told you, TV told you, a book told you, radio told you, Instagram told you. Most of your thoughts are not yours. There's really not much new in the world, right? We build off of the last generation, right? Even schools of thought. We take the last generation's concepts, we build upon it and make it better. All right? So, if most of my thoughts aren't mine and I'm not actively challenging my thoughts and saying which ones do I want to believe in and which ones don't I, well, shit, I am just a byproduct of somebody else's desires, somebody else's expectations, somebody else's fears. So you could be going through life. Think about that. You could be going through life thinking that women ain't shit, men ain't shit, and that is manifest in your reality because why? Somebody else told you that. You're not even creating your own life. You're not even creating your own life. This is why consciousness is key. Consciousness, presence is key. What story are you telling at every moment, right? How long do you have to do this? Forever. This is the new way of being. This is what conscious means. I am conscious, right? This is what it means. When people say, okay, I'm woke, what does that mean? It means you're awake now. You're not walking through life and allowing your mind to just run off with the story. You feel sad in your mind, you just allow your mind to run off by itself. Somebody tells you something, you just accept it and you allow yourself to run off down that direction. A situation happens that does not look ideal and all of a sudden you allow this story to come up in your mind and just run. Oh, no. We do not see things as they quote unquote look. We see things as we want them to be. Okay, forgive your neighbors so your Father in heaven can forgive you. If you do not forgive your neighbors, your Father in heaven cannot forgive you. This is not a scripture that is talking about forgiving and don't forgetting. This is talking about if you want to experience things in your life the way that you want to experience them, then you have to grant yourself those things in consciousness. Meaning, if somebody ain't acting right, you, in your mind, have to expect them to act a certain way, the way that you want them to act. If that situation is not playing out right, and they're showing up and they're still not acting that way, guess what? You're still in the middle. You are still in the middle, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Your tongue is a weapon. Your perspective is your weapon. It's the only weapon that you have. It's the only thing that you can control in this reality. And by controlling your expectations, your tongue, your word, what you say, now all of a sudden, everything that flows from you is more beautiful. And you can experience the life that you desire. You didn't come down here to suffer. You didn't come down here to get tested. It's not a test. It's just a divine reflection showing you who you are. And the moment you step into that awareness, you start looking in that mirror like it's a miracle. You start looking at every perspective of you as one perfect perspective of the wholeness of who you are. You start realizing that everything that you experience, every person you experience, every state of quote unquote lack that you experience is all reflected of you. And because I experienced this, it means I can change it simply by changing my perspective. What story have I been telling? What have my expectations been? How do I see myself? If I understood that I was source, how could I ever be anything less than love? Anything less than absolute abundance? anything less than absolutely worthy. I could never be anything less. It goes against my nature. It goes against the nature of the source that's within you. So who's off? Who's left? It ain't that God's left. God can't left. God's closer than your breath, closer than your thoughts, closer than you are to yourself, right? Source is more of you than you are of yourself. Right now, in this human perspective, you're only occupying 0.001% of reality. Most of that is source. Most of that is source. Right? So when are you going to allow your father to do the work? Your spiritual father. Right? The one that'll never let you down, never fail you. Right? So even the darkest nights are sacred thresholds, initiations into deeper seeing. Okay? So the heaven within. So many spend their lives climbing toward heaven when all along heaven was waiting within. All right? Split a piece of wood and I am there. Lift the stone and you will find me there. All right? Basically, source is everywhere. You are everywhere. All right? The mystics knew, the prophets whispered it, Christ embodied it. Heaven is not where you go, it is who you remember you are. You are not separate from the divine. You are an extension of it, a spark of the infinite wrapped in skin, learning how to walk itself home. All right? You are the secret of God's secret. This is a quote that I love this quote. You are the secret of God's secret, the mirror in which the divine sees its own face. This speaks to the mystery of source, the mystery of you. All right, let's break this down. All right, so this quote is a profound affirmation of the soul's divine nature. To say you are the secret of God's secret is to declare that the essence of your being is not just known by God, it is God's own mystery folded within itself. All right? The essence of your being is not just known by God, the essence of your being. It is God's own mystery folded within itself. It is your surprise to find within yourself. What a game. What a beautiful game that we are playing. The secret here refers to the ineffable. The secret here refers to the ineffable core of existence. Right? It's ineffable. If you've ever had a psychedelic trip, right? Probably gonna get banned for saying that. But if you've ever had a trip, what you'll notice is that there are certain aspects of consciousness that are unexplainable. They're beyond human language. If you've ever had a profound mystical experience, an experience with Source or with the Creator, right? There are certain things that you realize our language is only created for this third dimensional reality. It's not created for anything more. This is the nature of Source. So oftentimes we'll hear lots of people when we're talking about the divine, we're talking about Source, we're talking about the essence of your divinity. We're talking about religions and scriptures and all these things. And what we realize is that we have so much to say and so many ways to say it because the true nature of the divine is ineffable. It's beyond words. It is absolutely beyond words, right? We've been programmed to think humanly. We've been programmed to think humanly, right? Exactly. Exactly. From the jump, we've been programmed to think humanly. All right, so the secret here refers to the ineffable core of existence, the truth that lies beyond scriptures, beyond form, beyond even consciousness as we normally understand it. You, the soul, are not just a creation. You are the hidden treasure through which the unseen seeks to be seen, known, and loved. This is how important you are. This is how much a source you are. Right? You are not just a creation. You are the hidden treasure through which the unseen seeks to be seen, known, and loved. The second part, okay, the mirror in which the divine sees its own face, evokes a deeply mystical truth. God, being infinite and formless, chooses to experience its own beauty, love, and being through you. In the Sufi tradition, right, this is the essence of why creation exists. So the beloved may look upon the beloved. This is why Source exists, right? This is why you came down here, right, to experience yourself, looking upon itself. The kingdom is within you. but you look upon the kingdom with every glance. Do you understand that? Do you see that? Do you understand that you are in the middle of a miracle? Or are you still asking for more signs? Okay, you are the miracle. You are the miracle. Your father laid in your mother, and here you are. You are the miracle. This is miraculous that you are here. Life is miraculous, okay? Your soul is a mirror, not separate, but reflective of the infinite. And just as a mirror does not possess the image it reflects, yet makes it visible, you are the clear surface upon which God recognizes himself in form. This is not egoic elevation, but sacred humility, that the divine has made itself known through you. Not because you are greater than the whole, but because you are of it. All right? This is the ultimate humility, is knowing that source is within you, knowing that you are the temple of God. And as the temple, every time you go within your mind, you are communing with source. It is not just sacred ground because you go into a church. You are sacred ground. Where you're standing, sitting, laying right now is sacred because you are the temple. Every word that you speak comes from the temple of the divine, right? Verily, verily, I say unto you, whatsoever you ask in the Father's name will be given to you. Father's name is I am. Anytime you declare yourself to be anything, I am this, I am that, you are using the Lord's name. Anytime that you speak of yourself as anything less than divine, you are speaking the Lord's name in vain. But the kingdom is within you. Everything out there is you as well. That woman is you. That circumstance is you. That situation is you. So it's not that it's them or they or it. It's all I am. It's all I am. Everything is a prayer. Every word that you speak is a prayer. It's all I am. And it's all the name of source, of the infinite, of the almighty, of the most high, of the divine, of that infinite power that is within you. This gives a new aspect, a new meaning to forgive others so your Father in heaven can forgive you. But if you don't forgive others, your Father in heaven can't forgive you. Because source could never see itself as less than divine. And everything out there is you. So now you are creating a reality. You are just reflecting a reality that's not in alignment with the source within you. Whole new meaning to it. Forgive others so your Father in heaven can forgive you. See things perfectly. All right? Walk by faith and not by sight. All right? The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You carry heaven in your heartbeat, but until you look inward, you'll keep chasing stars that are already burning inside of you. You carry heaven in your heartbeat. Do you understand that the same love that you feel for your children, for your parents, for your ex, for your wife, for your husband, the same love that you feel for them, the market about to go up, the same love that you feel for them is the same love that creates worlds. This is the same love that creates worlds, universes, galaxies. The same love. Do you also understand, or have you ever sat down and pointed your love towards something or someone? Sit down in meditation and open your heart. Feel that love that you feel for someone and point it at them. Supply them with love. Supply the earth with love. Supply the earth with love. What you'll realize is that when you pour love outside of you, just start directing love to people, or direct love to yourself, you'll start to realize that you are infinite love. That when you start to try to supply love through yourself, source supplies love through you, for you. Right? And if you supply love to others, source supplies that love back to you. This is a reflective world. This is a reflective world. Right? But back to it. All right, so the lucid soul, when the dreamer becomes lucid, everything changes. Suffering becomes a teacher. Desire becomes a compass. Even shadows become sacred, for they show you where your light is still hiding. All right, so one of the quotes by Kabir, right? Why do you go on polishing your ego when your soul is already luminous? We talked about this several times, right? We try to polish our ego, right? Our basically, we get so caught up in this illusion that we forget who we are. We forget that we are divine. We forget that we're source, right? We get so caught up in that we think that we have to perfect our ego to get to source when we simply have to remember who we are. Right? Lucidity means remembering. I am the one I've been praying to. Lucidity means remembering that I am the one I've been praying to. It means choosing awareness in the middle of the illusion. How do you pray correctly? It is being conscious, being aware as you're going through these situations. Understanding that you are your salvation. Understanding that source has given you full operant power in your reality to decree things and declare things as you want them to be. Okay? It means waking up in purpose or on purpose. Isaiah 61, arise, shine, for your light has come and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Heaven isn't waiting at the end of your life. It's waiting at the edge of your next realization. Okay? So a couple reflection questions, man. I can't wait to peek at the charts. I'm so tempted to peek at it right now. I swear I thought that the market was going to be down this weekend for the opening. But when I started looking online, I seen everybody talking shit and saying, it's finna go down. It's finna be a bloodbath. I was like, no, it's not finna go down. Too many people talking about it. It's not finna go down. It's crazy. All right, but reflection questions. Number one, what false names and roles have you accepted that dim your divine identity? All right. And I'm reading off of YouTube. It's just a document that I put together. It's all on YouTube. You can download the document. You can do whatever with it. Make a paper airplane. You can use it as a studying guide, whatever you want to do. So what false names and roles have you accepted that dim your divine identity? Think about what you've been decreeing yourself to be consciously and unconsciously, right? So, and I always use the relationship example because it rings true for so many people, that if I say that all men are like this or all women are like this, what I'm declaring is I am a person who attracts this type of person. So think about the stories that you're telling in all areas of your life. Think about the things that you're declaring, right? The story that you're embodying in all these aspects, okay? What false names and roles have you accepted that dim your divine identity? Right? Source is unconditional love, therefore it could only attract unconditional love with the knowing of who you are, right? Yeah. Number two, where in your life have you confused pain with punishment instead of initiation? What points in your life have you been down? Or maybe you're in this point right now where you're looking at this pain and you're looking at it as punishment instead of just an opportunity to choose what you want. Where are you looking at this as some kind of test instead of just a reflection of what you've been thinking, what your expectations have been, what your story has been, what your concept of yourself has been? Or where are you looking at this as lack instead of an opportunity to choose prosperity? This is all it is. It's an opportunity to choose what you want. You see what you don't want. This is the divine menu. Source is always providing you with a divine menu. You don't like that? Choose different. Tell the story of what you want. All right. Number three, what would change if you truly lived from the awareness that the kingdom of heaven is within you? What would change if you truly lived from the awareness that the kingdom of heaven is within you? I'm going to tell you right now what's going to change. Everything's going to change. Money will flow to you different. People will just start giving you money. Right? All of a sudden, you'll feel better. You'll be happier. You'll be lighter. The awareness that I'm co-creating with Source, the awareness that I can just let it go. That my Father does the work. Me and my Father are one. My Father does the work. Right? Number four, what belief still keeps you walking like a beggar when your inheritance is divine? Maybe it's that you have to work hard for money. Does everybody who has have a lot of money work real hard for it? I can name a few people that make a whole lot of money. They don't work hard for it at all. Right? What belief still keeps you walking like a beggar when your inheritance is divine? What belief? All right? So in closing, if today feels heavy, if your soul feels lost in fog, know this: you are not falling apart. You are falling back into yourself. You are not falling apart. You are falling back into yourself. The dreamer is waking. And the heavens are parting, and the veil is lifting, not outside of you, but within. All right, Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Okay. And then a quote from Rumi: return to the roots of your own soul. Return to the roots of your own soul. You don't need to become more. You couldn't become more. It's impossible. The same way that you couldn't become less. It's impossible. You just need to remember more deeply. Who do you have to be is the wrong question. What do you have to remember is always the right question. You need to be less asleep. You need to stop chasing heaven and start living as it. Because the truth has always been this: heaven was never far. You just forgot that you are it. And now that you are beginning to remember. And now you are beginning to remember. Right? Remember who you are. Stop pretending to be something that you're not. This is all you're doing. When you're acting like you're not worthy right now, you're just pretending to be something that you're not. You're pretending that your ego is real. Your ego is not a real person. We give our ego all these qualities like it's this person. It's just thoughts. It's just thoughts that have kept you safe throughout the beginning of your life until now. It's all it is. It's just a collection of thoughts and beliefs. You can dismantle it like this. Do you believe that you have to do a whole bunch of subconscious work? Why? Your subconscious accepts everything. Even the long-term subconscious work is a cop-out. It's saying, oh, I think that if I just do a whole bunch of this and say a whole bunch of things like this for long enough time, one day it'll just snap and everything will just be easy. It doesn't matter what you're going to be doing for the next 3 weeks. The next 3 weeks don't exist. They're just thoughts in your mind. The only thing that matters is what you are doing right now, who you're being right now. Who are you aware of being right now? What you've been doing the last 3 weeks and you've been falling off, it doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. The last 3 weeks are simply thoughts in your mind. Let's give you an example. You could go your whole life thinking that people do you wrong, that you can't get love from the world, that people just betray you and leave you and yada, yada, yada. We can believe that. We can see that. All right? That could be your story or your expectation. Until the day that you realize, I've never been unloved. I was just trying to look for love in the mirror. Source is within me, so I could never be anything less than infinitely loved. I could never be anything less than infinitely loved. You've been remembering yourself incorrectly the entire time. And when you remember yourself correctly right now, guess what? You don't just change the future. You don't just project into the future, you project into the past as well. Example. If right now you believe that everything is working out for you, you're going to look at your past situations differently. You're going to look at the future differently. If right now you thought that everything sucked, you're going to look at the past different. You're going to look at the future different. We tend to want to think that our past is more solid than our future, right? But they're both just thoughts. They only exist up here in your imagination. That's all. That's the only place they exist. Two people could go to the same experience, right? I could have somebody that we sit in the same restaurant together. I love the restaurant. I have a great time. They think it sucked. We were in the same place. We have completely different memories of the place. You ask them about it, they'll say, never go there. You ask me about it, I'll say, oh my God, it was great. Then you go there, you make your own judgment. 3 different realities, right? Perception is everything. 3 completely different realities. In the moment that you change the way that you're thinking right now, your past changed. You're not just changing your future. Your past is not some rock solid thing. The only reason that you believe that your past thoughts and your future thoughts, that one's more real than the other, is because you have made that decision. The puzzle piece, man. See, This is the reality that I've chosen because I've said it twice. I say every time I get into a flow state, the puzzle piece comes up and knocks me off my pivot. And now all of a sudden it's doing that. So I got to change that. That's crazy. It's crazy how things just affirm to you. Things just affirm to you throughout life. Right? The only difference between your past thoughts and your future thoughts is you think one is more solid than the other. That's all. You identify with one more. What if you started remembering the things that you wanted as if they were your past, as if they were memories? Would that make a difference in how you viewed your thoughts? How you viewed your imagination? Would it make a difference? Because this is what it is. Your thoughts are they're all memories. You know that. One is not different or more real than the other. They're all memories. They're all memories. And people might say, you know what? You can't do that. Right? It's like I'm gaslighting myself. I have to tell the truth. I have to tell it like it is. Okay? If you want to stay in that shitty reality, you tell it like it is. But reality is not reality isn't anything. It's not solid. You are reality. It's not about what you see. It's about who you are. This is why two people can be in the same place and have two different realities. It's not about that thing out there, that experience out there, that person. It's you. It is you. Right? With somebody, two men, right, can get rejected by the same woman in the exact same way. And one of them becomes bitter and talks about how no women likes them. And another one is just like, oh, it's just divine rejection. She just wasn't the one for me. Two completely different perspectives. Same exact situation. Reality is not reality. You are reality. Your story is reality. Your expectations, perspectives are reality. You are reality. It's unfolding from within you. Right? You're the author writing the story before it happens. You're projecting your thoughts into the future. Now you're the main character walking through reality. Right? And now you're the editor seeing something that you don't like and saying, no, I changed that. Let me submit this to publishing. Let me submit this change. I don't like this. I see it's a miracle and I'm blessed that I have the opportunity to choose. Don't want it. Choose something different. And when you select it, and you edit it and you submit it to publish, and they always say yes. The source within you says, absolutely, whatever you want. Whatever you want, my son. Whatever you want, my daughter. And get a first-class experience of whatever you want. Then you're the director. Based on your expectations, you're handing everybody the script. Here, you embody this. You take this position. You take this position. You're giving them the script. It's all you. You play every part. You play every single part in the game. And I feel like going over the story of Job again because that's just my favorite story, and it just pertains to this so much. Looking at the story of Job as a journey through consciousness. All right? Miss Natalie, I appreciate you, truly. All right. How do we become better at trading while keeping source in everything you teach in mind? Something I've been battling with. Do the charts just show me what I'm lacking? Because most of the times, smash hella profit days, and then on others, it's like I'm getting wrecked. What does it say about me? So trading, all right, I love that question, man, because I love talking about trading. It would make more sense for me to just strictly speak about how I view the market, which you've probably already heard. I view the market as a divine, as an entity, okay? I view the market, myself, as an entity that simply rewards my discipline. There are times where, yeah, the money's great, I'll go in there and should, make a lot, and there's other times where I'll get caught lacking. And maybe I'll have a little bit too much hope, or I'll get in my head and I'll have a little bit too much confidence, and I'll lose more than I was expecting. And there's certain times where when I come off of these like lows and highs, I have to discipline myself. And the first thing that I always do is I take away money. meaning I do not allow myself to see the money on the charts anymore. I simply get back to the fundamentals. This is my entry. This is what I want to see in the market. This is where I would entry. This is where I would enter. This is where I put my limit. This is where I would get in. This is where my stop would be. This is my exit. I will manage my position as it goes based on market structure, and then I'll get out when needed. And I'll look at the profit or loss after that. And all that always brings me into the perspective that it is always going to be problematic for me to get too concerned with money. I'm not saying that's how you are, but when I read you make a lot of money and then sometimes get wrecked, that's what popped up in my mind, right? Because I know that feeling. So the only time the market rewards you is when you're doing what you're supposed to do. Right? And whenever you're not doing what you're supposed to do, the market is going to offer you a divine lesson. It's going to show you exactly who you are, right? Because you can't hide yourself. You can't hide from the market. If you go in undisciplined, it's going to show you quickly. You might get lucky, right? But gamblers don't win in here, all right? If you go in and you're not mentally off, you're not mentally locked in, you misread your technicals, or you get a little bit too hopeful, you allow your emotions to sway you. The same way if you allow your emotions to sway you in life and you start reacting to things in life, right? And allowing that emotion to tell a story that you don't want, allowing your emotion in the market to tell a story that you should stay in past your stop. I should just move my stop a little bit further down or up to avoid getting out, right? This is going to manifest in a problem. And yes, you might get away with it once, but the same way that reality doesn't lie to us, the market doesn't lie to us either. So it's all the same, man. It's all the same. Whether we're talking about the market, whether we're talking about life in general, anytime you're in a situation where you know that something's not going right, or you're not doing the right things, you're not getting the right results, clear indication to just take a step back and let me evaluate where my mind is, where I'm pointed. Because you should have a predefined, I'm going to either if I lose, I'll only lose this amount. Like predefined before you get in, right? So anytime that I go in and I have lost more money than I can stomach, then I know that I was not on point. I was not on point with what I was trying to do in the market, right? So I just started this group chat, man. It's been jumping. All right, y'all. What other questions y'all got? Got some time today. Think about life. I mean, life is all the same, right? Life is fractal. You can learn a lesson through everything, right? Let's start looking at everything as a synchronicity, not just the numbers that we see pop up, right, on the phone screen. The people want to Google, what does this number mean, right? Everything in life, if it happens more than once, it's a synchronicity. If it happens once, it's a synchronicity, right? If I have the same kind of conversation, or maybe it's a different subject, but I get triggered when I talk to my parents about a certain thing, what is that trying to tell me about myself? Am I latching on to a story or expectation? Do I have a belief that's not in alignment with what I want to be, right? What is uncomfortable that I need to focus on, right? If I'm losing a certain way in the market, that's a synchronicity, right? If I'm getting the same types of relationships, so I'm stepping in those same relationships and it's ending the exact same way over and over again, it's a synchronicity. It's all a synchronicity, right? The best way to enlightenment, right? The best way to source, the best way to the life of your dreams is accountability. It is turning inward and saying nothing is coincidental anymore. It's all me. It's all trying to teach me something. I am co-creating with source, so my soul is always going to tell me what I'm doing. It's just mirroring back to me who I am, and I have the opportunity to step into every moment, get a new lesson, and become a more divine version of myself in the physical sense, right? Because you can't be more divine. You're already as divine as you'll ever be. You can never be any less, never be any more. But from a human perspective, it allows me to step into my power more. Right? All right. My thoughts on being out of alignment. How do we know when we are and when we aren't? Eternal is my favorite on this stream. You know that? I like that question because it's so simple, but I'm trying to think of a really good way to put it. Because the simple answer is that you are the one who determines if you're in alignment or not. All right? You couldn't be, all right. If you have a desire, okay, you have a desire within you. What is that desire telling you? This is source desiring something through you. Okay? There's a version of you that is experiencing that desire right now. Now, we could talk about, righteousness and integrity and all those things, but I'll save that until a little bit later. Right now, for the purpose of this, you have a desire, you are already in alignment with it. You could not have a desire if you weren't not in alignment. For instance, some people want to be doctors. Some people want to be athletes. Some people want to be a judge. Some people want to be millionaires. Some people just want to have enough. Some people want to live in the country, some in the city. You are simply a collection of your desires, right? Your desires show you what you are in alignment with. That's all it is, straight up, okay? Now, because you have that desire, before they ask, I will answer. You believe that you are asking for something when really Source is putting that in your mind. Source is telling you, no, this is what I want to experience through you next. You're already in alignment with it. Now, because of that, we also say, well, if you want to get it, you have to be worthy of it. What does that mean? You are worthy because you are Source, because Source is within you. You could never be anything less than worthy. So thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be, meaning if you say you're in alignment, you are. If you say you're worthy, you are. The only thing that can pull you out of alignment is pretending that you're something that you're not. It's pretending that you are not Source. It's pretending that you're just your ego. That is what puts you out of alignment. It's pretending that you are anything less than divine, because that's all it is. When we're telling stories that are not in alignment with who we really are, we're just pretending to be some shit we're not. Okay, so let's put it like this. The days that you feel worthy, because God is within you, guess what? You're just as worthy as you'll ever be. The days you don't feel worthy, guess what? You're just as worthy as you'll ever be. The days you feel like, yesterday I felt worthy, but today I don't, you're still just as worthy. You can never be any more worthy, never be any less worthy, right? If you believe that you still have to do a whole bunch of work to get there, guess what? You still are worthy. If you don't want to be worthy, guess what? You still are worthy. The only thing that makes you not worthy is you telling a story that you're not. This is why one of the best affirmations you can do, I am that I am no matter what. I am worthy. I am prosperity no matter what. I am whatever you are no matter what. Because guess what? That is the truth. Is that you are whatever you want to be no matter what. You are in alignment no matter what. The only person that can point, the only operant power that can point you in a direction that is not in alignment with worthiness is you, by telling the story. So it is not about what you have to do or be. It's simply about the story that you're telling. Right? What if it's very difficult to say that you're worthy? It's very difficult for me to say it right now and feel it. Worthy just isn't a feeling. It's simply who you are. It doesn't matter what you feel like. You are worthy. I am that I am no matter what. I am worthy no matter what. You are worthy no matter what. There's nothing that can pull you out of it. There's no feeling. Feelings are the effects, y'all. Feelings aren't even real. Everything that's temporary is not real. The only thing that's real is I am. It's your source. It is source. It's the source within you. It's I am. It's the only thing real. Everything else is an illusion. It's fake. It's a projection. It's still all sacred and holy, but it's just a projection from within you. Right? You are source no matter what. Whether you feel good or not, whether you're eating healthy or not, whether you're doing this or not, whether you're working out or not, no matter what, you are source. You are absolute perfection. You are inherently worthy, exactly. You are worthy because you breathed consciousness, because you breathed, because you woke up, because you are. Like even saying that is an understatement because you woke up. You just are. You simply are. You simply are worthy. No matter how you feel about it. Even if you feel like this did not touch you. Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter, you still are worthy. Even if you're fighting it. Even if you're mentally fighting it, you just simply are. For sure. I appreciate you, Miss Lacey. Thank you. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, right? Let's see, what else? Did I miss anything? How do you get rid of the old story and replace it? One moment at a time. Simply one moment at a time, right? So, remember this. Assume and it shall be, absolutely. And it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, right? It's a simple assumption. This is why even Neville said the only thing that's keeping you from the things that you want is you refuse to assume that you already are the person in alignment with you, right? We think that, oh shit, I have to do this work. I have to do this shadow work, right? So even, my brother, so even what you just said, the whole, how do we stop telling the old story? Right? Even that is a limiting belief in itself. All right? You tell the new story right now, and right now is the only moment that matters. And you remind yourself that I am this new story no matter what. And I walk through life assuming that. Right? If that old story comes up, I remind myself that I'm not it. This is the story of Simon Peter, right? When Peter fell in the water, when he was walking on water and he took his eyes off of his I am awareness, represented by Jesus, he was looking at the thunderstorms, representing us. Sometimes we get pulled off when we're looking at things in our reality and those things are looking crazy. And we start wanting to tell this new story. Remember, it doesn't matter what you've been doing for the last 5 seconds. What matters is what you are being right now. Right now. What you are being right now. So the story that you change, life only exists one moment at a time. Even thinking of how I have to retell my story in the future and projecting this long future is really just creating this scenario of chasing. It's assuming that if I tell this story long enough, then all of a sudden I will change, right? If I tell the story long enough, in some future that I don't know, that's unknown, I will change, and all of a sudden, boom, this new story will be programmed. Don't think like that. There's only now. You assume this new story right now, and it's projected from within you, and you walk down the path. And you understand that you are worthy of this new story. You are this new story no matter what. If you get pulled down the path of thinking about that old story, let it go. Let it go. That old story was perfect in its stuff. You don't have to suppress it or push it away or shun it or beat it down. It was a perfect reflection of a perfect aspect of you. One divine point of view of the infiniteness of you. Okay? And so you bless it as so, and you move on from it. All right? You move on from it. Because you've made the declaration right now, it is. It is. You've made the declaration right now, and it is. Assume, new definition. Assume, and it shall be. Assume, and it shall be. 1 second, y'all. I gotta check this. I know I saw some other stuff. Hopefully that helped, my brother. Right. Yes, that's the truth, right? We do overcomplicate the process, and that's part of that human programming is that we naturally tend to think that everything is very complicated, right? Like it has to be a long, drawn-out process. In order to get this degree, you have to be here for 4 years and take all of these credits and all of this, and so we think in terms of our linear timeline. We think in terms of, one day I'll tell this new story so much that it just becomes the natural state of being, right? You don't have to try to be who you are. Like that's an illusion in itself, thinking that you have to work to be you. You simply have to know yourself as source right now. Like it's, God, there's so many things that we get taught that are just out of alignment with who we really are, our divine nature. This is effortless. This is who you are. You're in the middle of a reality that you've been creating. You've done it effortlessly your entire life, right? It could be even more effortless right now or even less effortful. It's less or more effortless now just by assuming that you are source. Knowing that you are source, right? You're not a human with a soul, exactly. You are a soul just happening to have a human experience. The 99.99% of you is empty space and energy. It's divinity. Let me put these back up. Right, but it's something. I mean, it's something we all go through, or have went through, right? We have all been operating off of programming. So it's interesting. That's the thing about this journey is so much remembering and so much shedding away the skin that no longer fits. The true meaning of discernment. Good question. You can answer that in a lot of ways. Do you mean in terms of what, right and wrong? Because, man, we can look at discernment from a very human perspective, and we can consider things as right and wrong. But even that is a judgment, right? Well, the Bible says judge righteously, right? So to understand righteously, we have to understand. So one of the things that really helped me was understanding the nature of imagination and vision, okay, and faith. I understand that I have desires because Source wants to experience those things. I have desires because I am an infinite being. And all of my desires are just reminding me who I truly am. All right? Now, when I have that desire, there is a path of righteousness that I should walk down to get that desire. Right? And that path of righteousness really is anything that's unlike that. I shouldn't be entertaining. I shouldn't be rejecting. Right? Everything that we want, we deserve it, and we can obtain it by right of our own consciousness. So if I want prosperity, if I want this abundance, if I want that woman, whatever the case may be, it is my consciousness that grants me that. And so this is really going to be what directs your path of righteousness, right? If you see something that isn't what you want, do you tell the story that this is just the unfolding? Do you tell the story that it's still perfect? Do you enjoy the flow knowing that it's still the middle? Or do you curse that thing and do you try to force things? Right. One of the stories that I always talk about that I really love in Scripture is the story of Jesus being tempted by Satan. And what Satan represents is thoughts that are not of you. Thoughts of jealousy, thoughts of fear, thoughts of anxiety, right? Feelings of that as well. Not things to suppress, but simply things that you battle with, things that you know are not of you. Right? And Satan tells Jesus, man, if you're the son, just throw yourself off the side of the cliff. Surely the angels will catch you. And Jesus says you don't test the Father. You don't test God. And what does that actually mean? It doesn't mean you don't ask questions, because if you don't ask questions, you can't get answers. Closed mouths don't get fed, right? What it means is if I'm on this path and I know that I've been embodying prosperity, or I know that I have, let's stick with prosperity. I know that I've been embodying prosperity. I am not going to force God's hand, right? Oftentimes, if we see things that we don't like, we believe that, I'm embodying this prosperity and I have faith, but then we start acting in lack. We start taking the path that isn't righteous. We start going off of our discernment because of our emotions. One example would be, I said this in the last live, there was a finals last night. And you could be embodying prosperity and feel so good, and all of a sudden you put all your money on on the money line. You put all your money on a parlay. All right? Is that the righteous thing to do? Is that operating with discernment? No, that's operating from lack. You believe that you've been embodying prosperity, but because your feelings have overcome you, now you're taking the wrong path, right? Or somebody, let's say you've been trying to manifest a person, and in your mind you see how you want them to be, and they show up in your reality, and it's still not the version of you that you've been affirming for or embodying, right? Still not that version that you want. And this causes you to derail off of that path. This is the story of Job, right? When his wife, representing your marriage to the third dimensional reality, his wife told him, why do you still have integrity? Curse God and die. Just curse God and die. Meaning, like, give up your higher self and die, right? Like become of the earth again, die. Right? And so we could see things not going our way and just be like, man, forget this. It's not using our discernment. It's just moving off of an emotion, a temporary feeling, a temporary circumstance. So if I'm moving through life and I believe I'm on this righteous path, which is in alignment with what I want, and a temporary thing causes me to change. Remember, the only thing that is permanent in this life is what? I am. It is your awareness. It's the only thing that's permanent. Everything else is temporary. If I'm making decisions, if I'm making decisions that aren't in alignment with what I want, based on temporary thoughts, feelings, and circumstances, then I'm not moving in discernment. It's a simple way to think of it, right? All of a sudden, she tells me something that I don't want to hear, and I just go off. All right, my emotions get in the way. I say something that I regret later. I don't see her in my mind as I want her to be anymore. Right now, I'm not moving off discernment. I've allowed a temporary situation, one version of her who showed up in this moment, to make me think that this is the end, and it's not. It's simply just the middle part. I simply react or respond to it as I do, and I tell the story of what I truly want in my mind, right? This is what consciousness is. Consciousness is presence. How present can you be with yourself? How present can you be with yourself? Okay. Yeah, knowing what you don't prefer definitely helps you to know what you prefer, for sure. For sure. Exactly. Because you have a desire, your desires are sacred and they're holy. If you do not walk in alignment with your prosperity, you deny other people. Right? Now, keep in mind, prosperity will still flow. Have you ever seen somebody who has wanted to build an app or write something or say something, and then later on they say, man, this other person did it? That prosperity, that energy, that idea was not yours. You don't own it. It had to be made manifest here for somebody. Somebody needed to receive that. And you might have been too selfish in the moment to create it, and instead you were like, oh no, I might be embarrassed if I say that or create it. I don't know if people are going to support me if I do it, right? We start telling these stories of illusion and lack, really these selfish stories, because we're denying the fullness of ourself to be expressed, because you have this desire for a reason. It's showing you who you really are. You want it, but now you start what? Remembering yourself incorrectly. You start pretending to be somebody that you're really not. You start pretending to be your ego, allowing these stories to just pull you off of the path. So somebody else needed to receive it, and Source says, okay, you're not open. Let's go somewhere else. Right? This is the nature of consciousness, right? This is the nature of energy. Energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred, flowed, transmuted, right? Your thoughts are energy. This is pure love, pure life force, pure consciousness flowing through you. You have a right to it in a moment. All right? You have a right to it in a moment. Like the moment you make a decision that you're going to do it, the universe conspires with you. Every single person, the all-seeing God representing every single person in your reality, every single situation, every single thing, turns to you and says, how can we help? How can we be of assistance, ma'am? How can we be an assistance, sir? What everybody says, as soon as you make a decision, everybody says, okay, cool. That means I have to play my part to tell you no so you can go down this path. That means I have to play my part to pass up this opportunity I have, or not pass it up, but I have to fall off of here so I can help you along the journey, so we can build something together. Oh, I have to do this, and I have to open up this space so that you can go into it. We're all manifesting together. Even if you think of the nature of reality, right? What is this world? This world is a collection of our consciousness. This is a collective consciousness. So yes, you manifest things on a micro level in your individual reality, but we manifest as a collective together. And even the things that you are desiring, that you are choosing, the timelines you are creating, guess what? Other people's desires are intertwined with it. We're all helping each other. So you have this desire because other people need it on their path. And it's going to bring you some prosperity, right? There's only one mind. This is why when you ever hear, like if you listen to certain movies, like if you hear monks talk, and I talk about this before, right? What does a monk say? They don't say, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to feed myself, right? They don't say I'm finna go eat. They say I have to feed the body. One has to feed the body. Right? One has to bathe or clean the body. Right? It's just a recognition of this one infinite consciousness, that we are all one. It's just one. We just pretend to be these different people. We're just pretending to be little individuals running around. But we all are one. Right? We all are one. Let me see. I wish it was an easier way for me to see these YouTube comments. So thoughts of love came, but then instantly death and destruction followed. This pain was like source in me wanted to wake up, but I was stuck in these. The only thing, all right, so both of those questions go hand in hand, right? The whole monitoring your thoughts. Without stress. The only way that you can get better at, look at it from two perspectives. Number one, you're not all of your thoughts. If you sat in your house for a day, I always recommend the silent day. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's for one full day. No TV, no books, no phone, no conversations, no nothing, no music, simply you and your thoughts by yourself. And what you'll realize pretty quickly is most of your thoughts aren't even yours. You start thinking of song lyrics. You start thinking of all kinds of things that aren't even you. Now, what makes these thoughts real or not? It's your identification with them. This is why Jesus said you would have no power over me unless given to you from above. Your thoughts, your emotions have no power over you unless you give them power. When you truly sit down and you realize the nature of your thoughts, that in order to stop them, it requires extreme meditation. Not extreme meditation, but typically it takes a good amount of time. About 30, 45, an hour, right? But outside of that, your thoughts zoom by. There are certain times where you just get pulled down a loop of thoughts, all right? Which ones do you identify with? Even your belief that all thoughts manifest, and it isn't in itself, is a belief that can limit you. The only things that truly manifest, are made manifest in your life, are the thoughts that you identify with. Are you telling the story of what you want and then you have a negative thought and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I've had this negative thought, so I've started over and I'm not going to get what I want anymore? Or do you just say, no, I already chose this other thing. This thought has no power over me. Are you deciding that you want something and then you allow a thought to just run? You allow an opposite thought to just run for minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. How long are you allowing those things to go? one thing that I would highly recommend, right, if you really want to sharpen your mind, is number one, make meditation a non-negotiable for you every day. Right? I don't care if you got to start with 10 minutes, but eventually get to a point where you have at least 1 hour set aside a day. You can set an alarm on your phone, you turn everything off, and you sit there. If you can't get into meditation, oh well, I guess you're just going to be sitting there. Right? Get to a point where you realize and you start to observe your thoughts over this time. Number two, I would recommend at least having one of those days where you don't put anything on and you just observe your thoughts. You'll start noticing very quickly how many thoughts are not yours, how your mind just gets pulled to these different things. And throughout that day, naturally, you'll start to want to choose your thoughts better. All right, that's number two. And then number three, I would highly recommend getting to just a place of mindfulness throughout your day where you realize that it's not that all of your thoughts are manifesting. It is that the thoughts that you are identifying with are manifesting. Right? You can watch movies and certain things happen and those things don't happen in your life. Right? It's the dominant story that you are telling. It's the things that you expect to happen to you that are happening. Right? If I tell you, or if your thought every day is that you are going to receive something, that's what it's going to be. If you think that you want, if you decide that you want to have prosperity, right? And you have all these thoughts of lack, and every time you have a single thought of lack, you're saying, shit, because I've thought this way, I'm not going to get what I want. Then guess what? You're not going to get what I want because that's your dominant belief. It's your dominant beliefs. It's your dominant expectations. It's your dominant thoughts. It's the thought that overrides most of your thoughts. Even if we go, let me give a relationship example. Let's say that you want somebody to act right, but your belief is overall men don't act right, women don't act right. Guess what? It might be a little bit more difficult for you to get that one person, right? So once you start to notice these patterns, you can attack those larger thoughts within you. And it's not about reprogramming them. It's simply making a choice right now. Simply making a choice right now on what you want. You're going to have to find someone else to stalk her. Tell her to call in, check in with you every hour. Whenever I do these days, I tell the people closest to me, like, hey, if you got an emergency, hit me up. If I have an emergency, I'll hit you up. But other than that, I'm not gonna. I'm just chilling today. And they understand because I do it so much. But it is tougher to do certain things, if you got a family, etc. So, but we can all set aside at least an hour for meditation, right? So many of us, we'll set an hour for scrolling. We'll set an hour for, watching TV. Set an hour to do something that'll really help your soul, really help you to get to the life that you want to live. Right? Yeah, all the answers are within. You're not really finding anything out there. That's why the quote goes, I searched for God outside of me and found nothing but myself. Because everything outside of you is just a reflection of you anyway. And it's when you go within yourself that you actually find nothing but God, nothing but source, nothing but the infinite. It's the divine mystery of life is that we are programmed to search outside of ourselves for everything. Right? We want the validation of our parents, of the schools, of the job, of the church, of our spouse, of our kids, of this, of that. Right? When really, the moment that you start going within and validating yourself and finding that source within you, my goodness, it's when life just gets delicious, just the way that you want it. Love your knowledge. Appreciate you. I am all that I seek. I am all that I seek, no matter what. I am everyone and everything all at once. I am that I am. What made me decide to come on TikTok Live? I don't know. I was doing videos on Instagram for a while. but they weren't spiritual. I had a plan in my mind that I was going to start going down this path and evolve into where I'm at right now. But my thought was I would just be putting out posts on Instagram. That's all I did for a while. And I got quite a bit of people on Instagram. But once I started switching to talking more and more down this path, the spiritual path, I got less and less engagement. So I just started to go to more places, and I just ended up here. It was one of my homegirls that really told me to start doing content, though. We were just having a conversation. She was like, she just would send me stuff and just ask my thoughts on it, or call me and ask my thoughts, and we'll have these long conversations. She was like, why don't you just talk about this? But I was like, okay, cool. Why not? And then I started doing it from a perspective that it took me so long to remember. I'm sure that, the future versions of myself that are experiencing life right now, that are watching this, it helps them. Right? And it just helps anybody. Right? Helping one person, that's a lot. Helping one soul, man, that's a lot. Energy can't be destroyed; it can only be transferred. Right? So if you help anybody, it's always a blessing. And I like doing it. I just like talking. I like having these conversations. Yeah, she was a real one. She was a real one. Because I always would have these conversations with people. There were certain women that I used to mess with back in the day, and they would be like, I just know every time I come over there, I'm gonna have a long ass therapy session. Yeah, for sure. That's why you keep coming. Yeah. Amongst other things, but yeah. And was I nervous? I think in the beginning, I was more so judging myself. But now I don't go back and watch my old content at all, or think about it. I just put it out and walk away. Even when I first started getting on YouTube, I was like, man, look, I'm gonna edit these videos. I need to do long form. How I'm gonna edit it? It's like, why don't I just go live and just talk? Just talk, put it out there and go away. Like, I don't have to sit and edit anything. I just, boom. So I think there was some nervousness in the beginning, but that's normal. And so what I would tell you, because I know where this question is going, because I can feel you, because you are a reflection of me, right? I see, right? If you have a desire to do this, then do this. If you have a desire to do this, it's because somebody needs to hear your voice. So do it, right? The truth is that, people are, 100% of people will never resonate with you. Right? You can start this and, you can get no viewers. You can get one viewer. If you help one person, think about this. You put this information up right now, and it might help someone today, tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. It could be your grandchild that walks across what you do. And because you had the inkling to say something, to put some kind of gift out there, right? It is a divine push from your soul that somebody needs it. So not putting your unique perspective out there would be denying someone, right? Nervousness is natural. Fear is natural. But they're not things that control us. Right? It's not a prison. It is simply a feeling. The feelings come and go. And it's also just an indication that you're doing something new. If you never stepped out of that discomfort and you never did anything new and you never confronted your fear, you would stay in the same place forever. Right? Nervousness is completely natural. Right? Your feelings are natural. Your feelings are just an aspect of you. It's just an aspect of you, right? Your feeling is just telling you something about a belief. It's an effect. right? You've had a story in your mind of being judged, right? Of being judged, of fearing this, or being seen a certain way. You have these expectations or these thoughts. And so that one energy that flows through you, there's only one energy, there's only one emotion, it's source, it's God. There's only one energy. And an emotion is just energy in motion. So if you have a story that is not in alignment with who you really are, telling a story about being judged and all this, then of course you're going to feel negative. But that's fine. This is just an area of expansion, right? It's what we talked about earlier. Your fears, your nervousness, your anxiety is just a path to deeper connection with yourself. You're going to feel so proud of yourself when you do something after you were nervous, when you put yourself out there. Right? You're going to feel so proud of yourself for doing it. You're going to introduce yourself to a new version of you. It's going to help you grow so much, right? Just naturally. A lot of the things that, it's very interesting because content also keeps me sharp, all right? Because, you got to prepare what you're going to say, then you got to think about it, and then you got to, kind of go through this draft in my mind of, okay, these are the points that I want to hit. And of course, I always get pulled way off the path because that's just who I am. But you're going to be introduced to yourself. You're going to look back at old videos that you do and you're going to see your growth. And you're going to look back at some of them and you're going to be proud of that old version of you that did it when they were nervous. And you might look at that video and cringe later on like, ugh. But you are going to be proud of yourself. I know I'm proud of myself. Some of the videos I look back at a year ago and I'm like, Recently I've been reposting some older stuff. It's my first time really going back through them. And there are a couple I'm like, whoa, Alex, boy, you've grown. My brother, you have grown, and I'm proud of you. Right? That's how you're going to be proud of yourself. Can't expand without trying something new. If you just stay in your comfort zone and you do only things that you're comfortable about, it sounds a little boring to me. Yeah, man. Those first couple. You know what's interesting also is one of the first videos that I ever put out went viral. It was like maybe like a year and a half ago or so. It went viral. And looking at it now, because it was one of the ones I thought about reposting. I was like, oh, I could repost that one. I went back and looked at it. I was like, hell no, I'm not going to repost that. Let me just say it in a different way. I'll just re-record it right now. Right. So, yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. It takes time. You come into your own zone. You get into your own flow. Appreciate you, man. I have done one meditation, but it got blocked, so I took it down and didn't go down that path. I took it as when it got blocked, I took it as, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. But since you just brought it up, I'll probably do some more. Because that was my plan initially, was to do a bunch of guided meditations, to put those out. So, because I do guided meditations for my friends, for people I know. I'll do guided meditations for in person, on the phone. For women I know, I do guided meditations for women. No, I don't really repost the snippets. I just let them be. I'll let them be. But if there's certain things, this is the thing about me, man. So I will go and I'll be doing these lives and I'll have moments where I'll get into the flow and I'm like, oh shit, that's cold. Hopefully I remember this so I can go back and edit it. And then I just walk away and I don't ever go back. And so whenever I make my short-term short form content, I literally just put on my mic and start talking. And when I make the point, I just cut it off, or I'll just talk for a couple minutes, 5-10 minutes, and then I'll chop that up into my short form content for the day. But my lives, I don't really go back and look at them. I've tried to, but when I'm on live and I'm having these conversations, I like to draw out my explanations, and then I'll pause, and I'll get pulled off a topic because I'll go down this route, and I'll try to bring it back. And so even going back through my lives, for me, I'm like, all right, bro, how am I going to put this down into minute clips? Just the nature of who I am. So I prefer to just do the clips myself. I did let AI do them for a while whenever I was using some app. But then I got tired of paying for the subscription. And I was like, oh, when I started doing TikTok, I was like, oh, TikTok makes captions by itself. Why am I paying for them? Because I originally used that app for captions, and the AI would pull them. I was like, nah. Me personally, I don't like, I'm not cheap, but I don't like waste in my life. I have so many financial responsibilities, like with my family and stuff. So when it comes to things like an app to 2 clips, I think if I was in a place where I just needed to mass produce content, because it got to that point, I would invest in it. But right now, cost benefit doesn't make sense for me. And I still think about everything that I do from a very business perspective. Even when it comes to content, right? I think of it somewhat from a business perspective. But this is even where I just want to kind of relax and have fun. And content is unwinding for me. Getting on here and having these conversations, it's reminding myself of who I am. It's helping other people. It feels, this is a flowing part of the day, right? Oh, I missed it. I missed something. My thoughts on fasting. I fast pretty often. I'm a big fan, a big advocate for fasting for several reasons, right? Now, the first reason is you only have one body. Right? You only have one body, and you have one vessel that you are experiencing this life through. And so fasting is a good way to take care of it, because there's so much harmful things, right, in our food and our water. And fasting just helps us to get back on point. Now, when it comes to alignment and things, I used to believe that, fasting would help me get things quicker. Same way with retention, right? But I've been challenging those beliefs for a while, and I truly now don't believe there's anything that you could do to be any less whole, or any less alignment, any less in alignment, or any further from the divine, further from source. Okay? But when you also think of things that you want to experience in this body, in this vessel, right? For instance, when you go to sleep at night, this is a time where your soul can actually liberate itself from the body. If your body is too busy using all of its energy to break down this heavy ass meal that you had before you went to sleep, what you'll realize, or what you'll notice, is that you dream less when you go to sleep on a full stomach. You dream more when you go to sleep on an empty stomach, right? Because your mind, your soul can be liberated. It can travel the astral realms. It can, show you things and allow you to experience yourself in your own consciousness via dreams. All right? Also, just the nature of food these days. Right? You have so many chemicals in it. Really, one of the only ways that you can truly cleanse your body is by fasting. It's by allowing your body to go within itself and start to eliminate some of those toxins, right? Also, this goes in alignment with sexual energy. Right? One of your body's primary functions is to reproduce. So if you are spilling all of your sexual energy, well, then your body goes into overdrive to reproduce that. And so if all of your energy is going to reproducing your sexual energy because you're out here sticking everything, and it's going into digesting all this bullshit food, well then, you're going to have less energy to point towards what you want. This is a game of energy. Life is a game of energy. All right? So all these things matter in terms of keeping your vessel clean, having the best worldly experience that you can have here. You didn't come here just to have a shitty experience. You came down here to experience life. But you also want to have a good spiritual experience as well. Yeah, you're just healthier, you're clearer, you can, you focus better, right? If someone is struggling with, their thoughts, something like that, I would recommend stuff like fasting, right? Same with meditating, right? No, I just follow how I feel. Typically, I don't eat on Sundays, though. I don't eat on Sundays, typically. But it just depends on how I feel. Lately, I've been going and seeing my parents on Sundays, so oftentimes I'll allow myself to eat with them. But for the most part, I typically don't eat on Sundays. It allows me to be clear when that market opens, when I hear that morning bell. The day for soul food. Oh man, it could be. It could be. But I mean, when it comes to food, right? We got to be mindful of our DNA, and we have to be mindful of just our genetics in general, right? Certain diets are more in alignment with certain people. Okay. Black folk, melanated folks, right? We have more cells than other races. We have 3 times as many cells as certain races. We have shorter digestive tracts. We can't eat the same things that other people eat. It makes us feel heavier, right? It makes us feel more drained, more down. It keeps us in a lower state of consciousness. All those things matter, right? And also, the more aware and conscious you are of your body, the more you pay attention to how you feel when you do certain things. Right. Because Sunday is for soul food. Yeah, you feel blood type as well. I've always kind of went back and forth with my diet. Like, my younger years, I ate whatever. And then when I stopped doing athletics, I was still eating whatever and I gained weight. And then I went raw for a while, raw vegan for a long time. And shoot, I felt really good. Then I went back and forth with eating meat stuff. These days I don't eat meat or processed food, but still eat a lot more. I would love to get the straight fruits, but I'm still kind of. What's crazy is that even right now, I'm light, but I don't feel light. Like I'm. Beginning of the year, I was like 235. The beginning of the year. borderline like 240 really. I mean, I'm giving myself grace. Now I'm back down like 215. But even looking back, I don't know where the hell that weight went. But a lot of it is just watching when I eat. Too much of anything isn't good. There's some things I can't have enough of. Certain things I can't get enough of. But you are right. Man, I think there's always a certain type of, never mind, I was about to go way off the topic. Chevy, you're late, man. You're late today. You're late today. But I answer any questions you had. Sometimes it's interesting the way that y'all ask me questions. Y'all ask me questions like I know everything. It's so funny to me. I appreciate y'all. Can we talk about Genesis, Adam and Eve, and the rib? Oh, we can talk about Adam and Eve though. So, dang, there's so many different ways that we can break down that story though. Matter of fact, in order for me to be mindful, I'll do a full discussion on it, because we can talk about Adam and Eve from different perspectives. We can talk about the rib being symbolism for everything as you pushed out. We could talk about the Anunnaki. We can talk about the story of Eden from a perspective of consciousness. We can talk about the serpent. There's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about. If you have a specific question, I'll answer that right now. But I'll make a full discussion on that. I think that's a very good topic. I don't know more than y'all, man. I am y'all. What are y'all? I am y'all. I don't know more than y'all. I'm telling you guys things that you already know about yourself. You already know everything that I'm telling you. You're just pretending that you don't know. My perspective of the Bible, a lot of ways. I read the Bible initially as a Catholic, right? I was born in the Catholic Church, so I read the Bible as a Catholic. Then I went completely out. I didn't believe in God and along for a while, right? And then I just started looking at different perspectives of spirituality and looking at trying to read. I tried to reread the Bible 7, 8 years ago, and thought I understood shit, and I was going down the path of different spiritual texts, but it wasn't until I had a kind of a mystical experience, and that opened my mind to certain scriptures, certain verses, right? There are certain verses that I know about and I didn't read before. And then going back and reading them, I just like, oh shit, I got a lot more clarity now. So yeah, reading it myself was the initial path, but this is what the realization was, because when I tell you I have downloads, it's not that somebody's whispering in my ear. It's more that I receive information from I don't know how, And that information is it's just a knowing. So let me put it like this. Because I would get the information and I would have to walk back through it. The Bible is the ultimate key to salvation. Spiritual text. Hold on. Let me not go too far before somebody. Don't just take that for what I said. The Bible is very, very powerful. But also you have to remember what the Bible was created for. Okay? So there's a Council of Nicaea, right, where the Emperor Constantine took a lot of teachings, different spiritual texts, and combined them. So what the original purpose of this canonized Bible was to align religious doctrine with Roman law, basically. Okay? So you already see where the problem lies with this. If a government says, they had a large council, and the purpose of this council was to settle religious debates. Think about that. If a bunch of government officials gathered together to discuss religious debates and put together the text for it, that sounds like a nightmare. That is what it was, right? However, a lot of the things were outsourced and reversed and put upside down, not to hide it from everybody, but to hide it from most people. So the Bible is an extremely powerful book of consciousness when read the right way. So let me put it a different way. If you were someone who truly wanted power, the ultimate power is knowing yourself as source. It's controlling your reality. Okay? And if you wanted that power for other people to create a world where you would benefit from, you would have the collective consciousness collectively manifest a certain world the same way that we are in right now. If the people that were in charge, if they truly wanted you to be free, would they give you the Bible? It's the same way that you're fed the Bible and you have to look deep within it to get a lot of meaning out of it, to get a lot of true meaning out of it. Otherwise, you see people that are just caught in semantics and wording and history, and they're arguing about things that are not pushing us into a better reality. Okay? The same way that when, society starts awakening, what do they push on you? They say, law of attraction. It's all about your feelings and emotions, right? When the average person, most people are not going to sit around and be able to control their thoughts and control their feelings all damn day. This is the most difficult way to create your reality, is by feelings in a mysterious vibration, a mysterious frequency out there that you have to align with, right? This is a difficult thing to do. So we know that the government created the Bible. We know that, it was a collective conspiracy to hand us, give them the law of attraction, right? I don't know why I'm being so careful with my words. Do you truly believe that people in power love you enough to give you the answer straightforward? So why would you read anything straightforward? Right? Why would you read anything straightforward? Right? It's the narrow path. This is the representation of Jesus being crucified in the middle. Right? Of the two sinners, it's the narrow path. Right? But you see, when you start looking at all these doctrines, they're all pointing to the same thing inherently. Right? We can get caught up in historical facts and this and that, but at the core of them, we're talking about the same thing. And a lot of the lessons are timeless. Right? And once we start looking at the Bible, it's not this book of history of these people outside of you, but we understand that if I truly looked at this Bible as if it was kind of the kingdom of God and knowing that the kingdom is within me, then every character in there is an aspect of me. And so when you start looking at Scripture as if every character is an aspect of you, you see it differently, right? It's the same way that we broke down the story of Job. We went through where every character was an aspect of yourself, all right? Every single one is an aspect of yourself. It's all the play where you're playing every character in your mind. So it's all a book of consciousness. When you start looking at it like this, you see different things. So that's where I would start, right? When you reread Scripture, read it from the perspective of Jesus being you, being your I am awareness, trying to teach you how to live your highest life. Jesus representing your I am awareness. Every single character representing different aspects of you. Jesus just representing your higher self. Your spiritual big brother trying to show you the way. Right? I am the way. I don't like reading stories. I feel you. These stories are all facts, though. And like I said, man, even the argument of is the Bible real or not, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't matter if it's real or not. Like that's not the point. The point is that there is no past, there is no future. So if we believe that it's true as a collective, then we've manifested the past where it is true. Like that, it is what it is. But is that where we're going to get caught up? Is in the literalness of this, or are we going to look for the deeper meaning? What is hidden behind it? We understand that the creators didn't have our best interest in mind, but they still needed the information to be preserved in this script, right? So we have to use our keyword discernment, right? Going back to that word discernment. But yeah. Being able to see Scripture in this way, it's not me. It's not me seeing Scripture this way, right? It's all, Source just giving me gifts from time to time, the same way that Source can give you gifts. So same way that Source has given you gifts, right? It's just Kabbalion is most spiritual texts are hard to read. They were written in friggin' 1202. Most of these spiritual textbooks is like, God damn, just say it. A lot of those spiritual teachers from back in the day, they put so many. If you ever read a Neville Goddard book, his books are so small, but he puts so much information in them. Like, damn, every sentence. I gotta listen to every single word. Every single word is so much meaning, right? Yeah, same here. Super religious background, extremely religious. So I'm Nigerian background, so extremely strict. Even today, my parents are actually very open with me today, just because of who I've become. But it's taken a long time. I remember being an adult, and my parents were having a conversation. Jesus came up. And I said, Jesus is just a regular man. I thought they wanted to fight me. But I didn't. I was trying to make a point. I wasn't trying to, throw shade or say anything. I was just having a conversation with them. And I was at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to slow down. But that's also why we meet people where they are, right? Everybody's on their own individual journey, right? What is real to them is real to them. In my Father's house are many mansions. Every perspective of you is a different reality. It's a different dimension. Who's to say what's true and what isn't, right? My whole, thing is I want to live the most powerful reality. I want to feel the most connected. I want to be in a reality that feels true to me. That allows me a divine connection with my Creator, and this is the belief that I've chosen. In this chapter of my life, Who's to say that things won't change? Who's to say? Who's to say this will be the ultimate truth? Well, right now it is. And right now I believe in it firmly and responsibly enough that I'm able to share it, right? So, and I'm willing to have conversations about it with whoever. And so that's what matters. There's, how many paths are there to the same destination? How many paths are there to the God within you? It's got to be more than one, right? There's so many different people. Like, we all have an individual path that we've walked down to get to where we are. Right? So, who am I to judge or shame anybody else's journey? They're just God. They are God, right? Doesn't matter if they believe in God or not, they are God. Right? All of us. Mass awakenings. I used to be very, very into that. And now, doesn't matter to me. I guess my thought would be this. If you look at our ancestors, they were a lot more spiritually in tune than we are. Right? They knew things about the planet. They knew things about the body that we're just figuring out with our science. We're more technologically advanced, which has allowed us to spiritually advance because of the connection, right? Being able to search things. But our ancestors, they were more spiritually advanced with less. Now, we had a long time where, and there's so many different things that you could read or research on that kind of tell you what happened, right? Versus certain school of thought to where at one point in time, if you ever looked at like a mountain looks like a tree stump. If you ever just go and Google search a mountain, right? It looks like a tree stump. There are certain schools of thought that at one point in time, those were trees. And we were much more oxygen. Everything was just bigger. We were bigger, right? And so then you start saying, all right, well, are those truly dinosaurs? They just randomly found those? Or are those truly dinosaurs, or were they just big people? And that's the story that we've been told, right? Whatever you want to believe, right? So we can speak things as facts, or we can speak of things as, fables, whatever we want to do. But as a collective, we're still manifesting it. But let's say that at that time there was more oxygen, there was more consciousness, okay? And then we had this event that happened. We had an event that happened that pushed us down a different path, okay? And now we're getting to a point where people are waking up. If you study like astrology, you'll know that we are traveling through this universe, our sun, right? Depending on what you believe, the sun, we're not traveling just around the sun, right? We're not a bunch of planets traveling around the sun. The sun is actually traveling through the universe, and it's pulling us with it. Think about the miracle that is, right? The sun is just flying through the universe, and our asses is just along for the ride, right? Because of the gravitational pull. So we go into different solar systems, and all of a sudden, because we are light beings, because we are cosmic beings, different places that we are in the universe affect us differently. So we could be pushed into waking up easier now. We could be allowed to wake up easier now. We could, even if you study the DNA, right? A lot of our DNA is said to be quote unquote junk DNA, right? It's not that it's junk, it's just that it needs to be unlocked, right? So whatever the case may be, we were extremely conscious and then we weren't. And now we see that gradually it seems like we're getting more and more conscious as a collective, all right? Where if you look at our parents, okay, they might have been conscious, right? They had the whole hippie era, If you look before then, right, everybody is stuck in wars. But if you look at now, right, we seem to be on a trajectory of greater consciousness, and information is helping us. Technology is helping us, right? AI is helping us. We're in a more connected time. We're more connected than we've ever been, right? You can put your thoughts or your perspective, online, and somebody from across the globe can say, "Shut the hell up, you stupid mother," right? We're very, very connected. So information is traveling faster. People are exposed to more, and we have the ability to make more decisions on what we believe. So if you add those things up, then I think that we are heading towards being kind of more awake. Now, whether we want to say it's going to be a mass awakening, it depends on how you describe mass awakening. I would say right now we seem to be in a mass awakening, right? Where you can have certain conversations with a lot more people. There's a lot more people that are vocal about everything, especially when we talk about it from the perspective of religion or spirituality, right? We will see, especially when we talk about it from the perspective of religion and spirituality, even if you go on the internet, right? Let somebody say, "Thank you, Jesus," and go into that post if it's viral and watch the arguments. Let somebody say anything, any belief, right? Whether they believe in manifestation, whether they believe in this or that, or whether they're Christian or Buddhist, whatever the case may be. Let them say something online and it go viral. You're going to have hella people going back and forth, arguing about a whole bunch of nothing, right? This is the time that we're in, right? Information is being spread. So I think we're already in kind of a mass awakening. We also tend to judge things, right? We'll look out and we see chaos when we know that throughout history there are certain people that have to polarize the world for it to progress. So we got a president right now that's very polarizing in the States, right? Whether you like him or not, he's polarizing. He makes you choose a side. Pick me or not. I don't give a damn. Make a decision, right? So you make a decision whether you don't want them or do want them. And humanity has conversations. And based on those conversations, we are pushed forward. We might think it's pushed backwards, but that's because we don't understand the absolute synchronous nature of the universe, right? If you look at Earth the same way that you look at your body, all right? Your body on a cellular level is killing itself. It's eating itself. You got cells fighting itself. You got all those Pop-Tarts and processed shit that you ate last night. Your body's struggling to digest. It looks like war. It looks like, can I say that word? It looks like that. But on a holistic level, it's fine. You're sitting here fine, right? The same way that the earth looks, right? If you look throughout history, we have polarizing figures that come through, check in, do their job, and get the hell out. They check out after they've done their job. And because of that, humanity moves forward. Now, does it always look like we're moving forward? No, of course not. Because we only see with our one perspective. But as a collective, it's not that we are pushing things further, per se. It is that we are manifesting from a future vision. So is the vision of the majority right now more beautiful than the vision of the majority 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 8,000 years ago? That's up for debate. Who knows, right? But we'll be able to base this or judge this based on how things progress as a society moving forward, right? And it's kind of beyond our judgment. It's kind of beyond our judgment. But yeah, I do think that we are waking up as a collective. And then what happens to our bodies after we die? Depends on how you die, man. They can get 8. Your body can get 8. So they're not making any new graveyards. So ain't no telling. Ain't no telling what happens to your body. Your soul lives forever. Your body, she'll cremate me. Your soul lives forever. Let me see here. All of people are spiraling, but don't understand what's happening on a deeper level. Yeah. And that's why we have to have grace. Everybody has to go through their own human experience, right? There's some people who truly believe like these are the end of times. That's their truth, right? Who am I to say what the ultimate truth is? Do I believe that? No. Right. But all those things, right? It is unfortunate that people push themselves to these high levels of stress in times like these, right? But there are absolutely people that are suffering right now in the world, and that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. And then what happens to our soul? What happens to your soul is that when you pass, is that whenever you pass, you are, I'm going to use the word frequency, you are at a specific frequency, all right, based on what you've experienced in this life. So let's say that on your deathbed, all right, you're sitting there, and it's you and your wife is across from you, and you look at her and you say, damn, I've been spending all my life focusing on you, and I wasn't able to do what I wanted, and now you have all of these regrets. Okay? On a soul level, there's going to be a law of frequency, right? A law of resonance. That's what it actually is, a law of resonance. Whatever you are resonating at when you pass, that is going to determine some of the things that you're going to have to learn. So you might be put back in a situation where, okay, because you still played the victim role, your soul is going to decide, let's give you more opportunities to play that and transcend it. All right, because you didn't learn that lesson here, so you didn't have that lesson, you didn't learn that lesson here, so you have to learn that lesson over again. Right? But basically, you're going to have the opportunity to choose. Right? Your soul is going to be liberated from your body. This body will pass because it's not real, but your soul is eternal. You'll be able to review your life. You'll be able to see what you did, what you didn't do right, and then make a decision on where to go next. What does good and bad mean? What does good and bad mean? We can explain it from a human perspective, right? We can say, so the 10 commandments say, "Thou shalt not kill." But if I'm laying up with my woman and somebody comes in and tries to kill me and I kill them, are you gonna call me a bad person for that? Or if somebody runs in and you allow them to kill you, does that make you a good person? You follow the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." Does that make you a good person? No, it doesn't. Right? We base a lot of the things that we call right and wrong right now are based on human morality. Human morality changes. If you were bored in certain situations, in a certain place in the world, you would have a different concept of right and wrong. If you were born with more or less money, you would have a different concept of right or wrong, of what you have to do to survive, right? So as well as we can as humans, we create right and wrong, these versions of right and wrong, and we base them on what? We base them on how the society needs to stand, right? This is why we have the Council of Nicaea, right? This is when the Roman government took spiritual texts and put it in alignment with what? It put it in alignment with Roman law. This is why you read the Bible and it sounds like law. This is why the Western world, if you look at how the Western world punishes crimes, it sounds like the damn Bible, right? We believe in what? We don't believe in rehab. The same way that the Bible says, oh, you're going to live here for 80 years and then you're going to go spend eternity in hell suffering. That is an unfathomable amount of time. Eternity? I've only been alive 20, 30 years. Eternity, suffering. And what do we believe in our system here? We don't believe in rehab. We're going to put you in prison. If you start doing the comparison, if you read the Bible literally, You do a comparison between the laws we have now, you'll see that it's hand in hand. These politicians get up there talking about God. What Ted Cruz just the other day was up there talking about, we have to defend God's chosen nation of Israel. Israel was created in 1948, bro. Right? It's, all these things are very, very interesting when you truly start breaking them apart. If we truly start breaking them apart. So good and bad is going to be, it's based on human perspective. It's based on the place you're living, right? It's based on what laws they have. It's based on what you've went through. Right? So, no, it's not. It's when we really talk about sin from a spiritual perspective, from a soul perspective, what we're talking about is not doing the things that are in alignment with who you really are. So, right now you have a desire to make more money. And that is in alignment with who you really are. Like, you've been fiending for more money. There's a part of you that's hungry for more money. And then after that, what happens? You know that you just need to research how to make more money. That's where you need to start, but you don't do that. You're sinning against yourself. You are sinning against yourself right then. Okay? But yeah, man. No man can lead you to salvation, right? Like, no human being can define right and wrong for you. Nobody can. Right? You can't put your salvation in the hands of someone else. No one can tell you what is right and wrong for your soul. This is a very personal journey. You know what you are supposed to be doing. You know the righteous path. It's not just about only doing what you want to do, right? That's missing the point. That's a sin in itself. That's missing the mark completely. Right? It's about that righteous step. Do that decision that's really in alignment with who you truly are. That vision you have for yourself. You know what to do next. You know if you should be waking up to work out because you want a better body. You know that. You know that. Right? Anytime that someone tries to convince you with fear, it's not a good teacher. And Source is the best teacher. Source teaches you by being the perfect mirror for you. This is unconditional love. Unconditional love is, I'm going to continue to show you exactly what you've been thinking so you can get to learn yourself. And I'm going to do it forever, for eternity. That is unconditional love. Unconditional love is not, if you follow these rules, then I'm going to punish you for eternity. That's not unconditional love. That's not love. You couldn't even imagine doing that to your kid. It doesn't matter what they did. You could never imagine doing that to your child. Burning them for eternity. You couldn't imagine that. Thinking about that will make you uneasy. A lot of the things that you read, you got to read them backwards. You got to read a lot of these things backwards, man. Put it through the perspective of your knowing. Like sit in the stillness of yourself and truly ask yourself what things make sense. What things make sense and what don't. How should I really be reading this? Ask yourself. You have all the answers. It's all within you. I know I didn't just read heat wave in New York in the same sentence. Heat wave in New York? What's the temperature in New York? Is there an 8 in the front of that number? Okay, it's 100. close to 100. My bad. My bad. I apologize for jumping into judgment. It's hot as hell down here. But I don't even think it's 100 down here. DC 102. I thought we were going to have a cool summer for a little bit. And it just started heating up, man. It just started heating up. It's good bike weather though. Yeah, that's the hell that they were talking about. Go sit your ass butt naked on the pavement right now in this heat. That's the hell that they talking about right there. I love the heat though, man. I love that summer. I remember playing football back in the day. And it was so hot that the turf, that you could smell the turf and you could see the heat coming off the field. Even now, like I like going for walks right in the middle of the day, like noon, between like noon and 3. Going and running, going for walks right in the middle of the day. You feel like you're running with the ancestors, man. Just firing up that melanin. Feels good. I love that heat. Love it, love it, love it. Oh shit, boy got an Amazon package. What time is it? 7 o'clock. All right, I got one more question in me, maybe 2, and then jump off of here. What else y'all got? If y'all have anything. Oh yeah, this reminds you of where you from then. My thoughts on I love them. I absolutely love them. I think that they are tools. I think they're tools to be respected and be treated with reverence, right? I've had some of my biggest breakthroughs with psychedelics, and I've done a lot beyond just shrooms. But the thing that I really love about them is that they give you exactly what you need. They give you exactly what you need, right? They help strip away your ego in certain ways, and they also, all right, let me just get the full. The thing about mushrooms, they're actually pretty friendly to like first timers. It's an interesting intelligence to where when you take them, it's like they invite you in the first time, and then if you're ready for more, they expand and grant you more, right? The beautiful thing about it, I'm definitely going to answer that question. The beautiful thing about it, they are conscious expanding substances. They'll help you in your journey. They will help you to face things, but you'll also know pretty quickly whether you can handle them or not. I know some people that just can't deal with them. Some people cannot deal with them. Other people can. They show you very quickly, you know, if this is the path that you want to go down.
And they're pretty anti-addicting. I know people that have stopped doing certain things because they've took mushrooms. Oftentimes when I take them, especially when I was still, eating meat, after I took them, I could not eat meat. The taste, the smell, the thought of it made me feel sick. There's an interesting documentary on Netflix about them. I think Dennis McKenna's on it. Terrence McKenna brother. Well, he gives an interesting story and says that he used to stutter. And he took shrooms and just told himself that he does not stutter anymore. And his stutter went away after his trip, which is incredible. And then you also hear about people, they stop smoking or they stop drinking. And it completely changes their personality. They drop a habit they've been trying to drop immediately after it. Very anti-addictive. So, yeah. Okay, what was the one that I really wanted to answer? All right. What to do with manifesting a man and he texts you, but he has a girl? Do I text back or no? I have to answer this in a responsible way because it's just recorded. What I would say is this. In your consciousness, what version of him do you have? In your consciousness, do you have the version of him that has somebody else? Or do you have the version of him that is only with you? That should actually determine your next step. So if you have the version of him that is only with you, that is not with anybody else, all right, then how do you know that he has a girl right now? How are you aware of that? And why is that in your awareness? All right. The best thing that you could do, right, get that out your awareness and focus on the version of him that does not have anybody else. The version of him that hates their life without you, okay? The version of you that is so confident in who you are, that remembers who you are, remembers that you are always the prize, you are always the source, that you are always the creator, and you go from there. If he responds that he still has this person, then you know that this is not the version of him that you're in alignment with. So you simply drop this version of him and you allow that right version of him to show up in your reality. Right? It's never really about it's not really about what you are doing so far. It's who you are embodying. Let who you are embodying, let who you are dictate how you respond. Respond as if you are the person who does not tolerate anything else. Respond in your truly as who you are. Right? Respond as who you are. You are someone who is always chosen. This person would be a fool not to be with you. All right? And take it from there. What would that version of you do? That version of you would probably respond. But they would know, do you have somebody? Well, shoot, if you do, then you're not the version for me. And so I separate myself from that version. And I simply keep my awareness, keep my consciousness on the version of me that has it. So texting back doesn't matter. It's basically the bottom line is that what you do or do not do does not matter. Who you're being, who you remember yourself to be, that is what matters. And by remembering yourself to be that person who already has what they want, where what you want is inevitable,
you walk around with the absolute conviction that what you want is already unfolding for you, then it doesn't matter what you do right here. You just know that if this person, if this version of them isn't the one that you're conscious of being with, then this isn't the end. This is in the middle. And so they have to fade away. And you have to be given the person that you want. That's all. It's always, the wrong question is always, what do I have to do? Right? Whenever you're thinking, what do I have to do? This is the wrong question. You don't have to do shit. You don't have to do anything. You are source. You are the creator. You simply have to remember who you are. And by remembering who you are, now whatever you do is the right thing. Right? Does that make sense? Oh, I hope that makes sense. It's not about what you have to do. You don't have to do shit because you are source. There is no formula that you have to walk down. You are writing the script. You're creating the script. You go to the end. And from the knowing that you're already in the end, you have what you want. It doesn't matter what you do. You do whatever. You answer, you don't answer, it doesn't matter. You can not answer, but you can go look at their stuff. If they were with somebody, you can say, fuck that. This is not the person that I want. I'm not in the end, right? So that's all, right? Give yourself the power. The power isn't in what you do. What you do doesn't matter. The power is in who you are. The power is always in who you are. Man, hopefully that helped, man, because that is the only thing that matters. You are the only thing that matters. You are the process, you're the technique, you're the reality. What you do, irrelevant. What you see out there in the external world is irrelevant. Who says that that person is even with somebody, right? How are you aware of that in your consciousness? If that's not what you want, then that's not the story. How could they be with anybody but you? How could they be with anybody but you? They can't. It's about your consciousness. What are you aware of? You already live in your reality. You're already there. Right? This isn't this, and this reality that you're in right. You're in that reality in your consciousness. What you're experiencing right now is nothing for you to change. You can't bend the spoon. It's impossible. You can't change that person. It's impossible. You see them and you say, this isn't the version that I want. I already know the version that I want. And you continue walking down that path and you allow this version of them to fade away. I love these lives so much too. So much too. Ooh-wee. All right, y'all, 7:09. What do I have to do? I'll probably go for a walk. Let's wrap this one up, man. Let me give y'all some affirmations. We can go. I appreciate y'all's time as always. I appreciate the questions. Hopefully, this helps y'all. Just to remind you of who you already are. Remember, all this information is already within you. You already know what to do. Don't wait for anyone to give you permission to remember who you are. Don't wait for anybody to give you permission to have the things that you want. You already have those things. They're already within you. Already within you. In the Father's house are many mansions. You are the Father's house. There are many mansions, many different dimensions. There's every single personality, every single reality within it. Right? When you embody the person when you embody who you truly are, source, infinite intelligence. Okay, when you embody that, now the world can actually bend to your will. All right? I see you all as beautiful, as divine, as perfect, as powerful, as in alignment with everything that you want. You can never be anything less than whole because you are every version of you wrapped into one. You can never be anything less than whole because source is within you. You can never be anything less than love because source is within you. You can never be anything less than worthy because you are source. If you don't feel worthy, it's cool. It doesn't matter because you still are because source is within you. If you do not feel loved, you still are because source is within you. If you do not feel any way, it is fine because you still are absolutely perfect in absolute prosperity. Everything that you want, you already have. you're walking down the path of realizing it, and every moment is getting you closer and closer to that thing. Remember that. Right? You are all God's. And if you don't feel that way, it's cool, because I see you as that way anyway. So I know it must be true. All right, y'all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Y'all stay safe. Stay cool out there, man. This heat wave. Right, if you're in the markets right now, be careful. If you're in the markets these days, be careful. All right, and I shall talk to y'all soon, man. Peace.